All right, so peace and love, beautiful souls. High vibrations to you all. Here we are tonight under this new moon energy. All right, and it will be fully new going into after midnight, but actually, it'll be much more tomorrow night, in full effect, especially when it reaches the degree that it's going to reach, which is kind of I'm gonna speak on that some tonight. Um, just on this perspective of letting you know, this new moon, what makes it so paradoxal, is because it's going to be in 28 degrees Sagittarius. Sagittarius is one of the closest constellations to the galactic center. All right, so by being it's going to be 1 degree from the galactic center. So at 29 degrees Sagittarius is what has been measured and known as the galactic center. All right, so since we're dealing with that type of energy, right, this is like, you know, when you're looking at Sagittarius and when you compare this to our mind states and how this energy correlates to our bodies, right? It rules the vagus nerve, the sciatica, our common sense, right? Which we know in this life, common sense is called so-called the golden rule. You get what I'm saying? So in this life, a lot of times the paradox of this life is we can choose the direction, but the universe chooses the route. You get what I'm saying? So when we begin to aim higher, when we begin to see beyond whatever it is we think is going on, this becomes the aspect of going beyond the polarization or into the polarization of Sagittarius out of Gemini, the lower thinking, right? Analyzing everything. You get what I'm saying? That's the Gemini, Mercury, Virgo energy, right? I always trying to make sense out of every goddamn thing when everything don't always need to be made sense out of, and it only can happen in the experience of it. Hence is where you truly gain the wisdom of something. You get what I'm saying? So it's like now with the Pisces North Node, us being able to dream big, right? Us being able to see beyond our own bullshit. You get what I'm saying? Like, so when you think about how dynamic this is, and how powerful of a time this is for us to be alive, like, it's very dynamic. To me, it's one of the most powerful themes of our life right now. One of the other reasons is because this is what is known as a generational shift. All right. Now, when I talk about that, I'm calling it a generational shift, because these planetary shifts that are happening only happen once in a lifetime. All right. So even some of our children's children won't see some of these placements. You get what I'm saying? So us being able to experience this and me knowing the power of the cosmos and how it literally dictates the way we think, and the consciousness, the level of the way we flow. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a trip because when you truly honor it and when you truly know who you are, it moves us into a different space. It allows us to feel more present, right? Because you don't have to have everything figured out. See, this is why people love church. This is why people love Jesus. This is why people go to religious temples. Like, this is why people just straight up, this is why people choose something spiritual or something religious as a foundation to move about and navigate this life. You get what I'm saying? And the way this shit is measured, right? The stronger your foundation, right? What does that mean? The easier it is for you to navigate. You get what I'm saying? So the stronger your foundation, the easier it is for you to navigate throughout this shit. So it's like, okay, if I'm choosing, if everything in this life is written, right? This is how you look at this shit. If everything in this life is so-called written, am I the one that is choosing it, right? Or is God ordering my steps and it's the devil fucking with me along the way? See, this is the polarization of how we think and how we feel, and how we can sometimes get caught in these loops. And these loops equate to comfort zones, they equate to memory. You get what I'm saying? So during Sagittarius season, or just the Sagittarius archetype when it comes to astrology, it's like this new moon is asking, like, what have you been aiming to do, but you've been aiming too small, overthinking it. That paralysis by analysis, right? You done got comfortable on the job. You done got comfortable in the state, the city that you in. You done got comfortable in whatever survival mode, and you're not allowing yourself to do the things that you know you want to do. The things that set your soul on fire. That's why Sag is a duck fire. You get what I'm saying? So where have you convinced yourself that you stuck? You feel me? Like when really you need to be giving yourself permission to move. But that takes a certain authority over this nervous system, though. See, people don't talk about that. It's one thing to think about the shit you know you gotta do, and you know what I'm saying, but actually moving on that shit, that's a whole different energy because your body might restrict you, your palms might start sweating, you might get the bubble guts, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no telling what the fuck your body might do. I don't know, because now it goes into whatever experience that you had that has not allowed you to fully give yourself that permission. Even if it's people along the way that are, you can't do that, right? Like making you mindful of how you do you, right? This is the way this world has constructed. This is the socializing, and this is why Gemini rules social media are just passing information, right? The way we digest it, the way it becomes a belief, the way it becomes a ideology, the way it becomes embedded in our thought process is where that axis of the pillars of communication with Gemini and Sagittarius and dealing with Mercury, because how you think is how you listen. How you speak is how you feel. You can't hide in tonality. People can't hide what they're saying when you truly understand the power of language, body language, even unspoken language, right? You able to hear what people don't say. That means your discernment is growing. This is why most Sagittarius people, a lot of Sagittarius people are bullshit detectors. You understand what I'm saying? So if we having a new moon in this energy, amplified the way it is with all of the new changes and the new shift that the cosmos is happening. Do you understand how discernment is growing? Your ability to detect bullshit, right? Now the whole thought process is when you deal with Sag, you can't get caught up in trying to change somebody else's perspective, or even sometimes letting the motherfucker know that you peep bullshit. Because on the opposite, Gemini says that the more they talk, the more they gonna tell it. Just let them keep talking. Because if you interrupt them too quick, they gonna make you feel like you tripping. Now your discernment, like, was I tripping? You get what I'm saying? So let people talk. Now, the other side of that is when they finally do reveal it, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do with the truth? see, see, in what relationships and what dynamic of your relationships with your thoughts form, with yourself, with other people that can be reflected back. What do you need to reclaim your sovereignty without abandoning the connection? This becomes the hard conversations. See, this is alchemizing shit. So a lot of time we don't alchemize the experience because we get so lost and we want somebody else to be accountable. We want them to do this. We want, instead of honoring what we said yes to. You done said yes to all of this shit. That's the paradox. Even if it was a compulsive yes, even if you wasn't fully aware of what you said, right? Even if you weren't fully aware of what you was getting yourself into, it still did not determine the fact that you are experiencing it. So if you are experiencing it, it is your choice to change it. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're able to change this dynamic and when you're able to truly understand that this is about what you said yes to, you know what I'm saying? This is about what you found yourself in the midst of because you have taken yourself through this shit. See, you're not a child anymore. See, when you were a child, it wasn't your fault. You get what I'm saying? Like when you were a child, you weren't always in control of where your mama and them took you and all of that type of shit. That wasn't always in your whether you ate today, what you ate today. See, these things can be displayed on how you find yourself moving throughout your life and why you go through scarcity and fears and all these things the way you go through them. All right. So when we truly embrace these experiences for what they are, we truly find ourselves in a space and a place to be able to navigate this reality without getting so caught up in the dynamics of trying to figure everything the fuck out. All right, so I spoke a little while on that. I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth with it, but of course, I like to start off letting us know the theme of where we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, So when you understand that your ability to detect bullshit, your ability to really be able to even your own bullshit. You know, if you stop lying to yourself, recognizing when other motherfuckers are lying to you is easy. So there's a difference between being optimistic and realistic. It's a thin line. This is where the imagination can sometimes get corrupted by the intellect, and where you can start to create things that have already happened based off memory. And this becomes the fear, the restriction, and then you start to project into something in the future that ain't happened yet. This becomes anxiety. All of it's created in your mind. So once you free yourself from that mental aspect, it really does give us a dynamic place for us to really understand how much we create our realities, how powerful we can be when it comes to reframing these narratives, reframing the dynamics of the way we think, the way we access those thoughts, the way we react to those thoughts, and this becomes our ability to respond. All right. So it's your responsibility, right, to navigate through this shit once you're aware of what hurt you, once you're aware of who hurt you, who abandoned you, who betrayed you, how long you want to deal with those narratives. Okay. It's not saying that you aren't human. It's not saying that you won't feel. It's not saying that you won't go through anything. All these things, once again, are a part of this experience that we call human. But once you find the beauty in it, yeah, you'll be able to see that everything in this reality has been teaching you and showing you, all right, how to be. Now, let me get to sharing the screen real quick so we can get to the business. I start Gemini. Hold on here. So let me know when y'all can see my screen here. All right, hold on. They just gonna take me out of there like that. What is it under here? Where we at here? There it is. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Now, as we can see, when we're dealing with this archetype, this is the arc of renewal. This is the way I see this moon. Okay. One of the main reasons is because this moon is going to be taking us into um this full moon in Cancer. All right. So this is igniting something as we move into the new year. Okay. Now, the themes around this are ignition, higher intelligence, truth activation, all right, soul expansion, new destiny tracks. This is like the restoration of that faith, because what is faith without works, right? Alignment with purpose. So this is not just a new moon. This is the bridge moon. It's the ignition point that launches us out of the mental clearing, right? Gemini full moon in December, right? Earlier this month. Now, this is into the new structural timelines of 2026 into the wolf moon in Cancer. Now, this Sagittarius new moon acts like a cosmic arrow, aiming consciousness toward the next frontier of our personal evolution. Now, the arrow of destiny and activation is kind of what Sagittarius represents. Sagittarius rules truth, freedom, expansion, spiritual philosophy, cosmic law. All right, this is why it deals with institutions and the law and shit like that, lawmaking and all that kind of shit. That's why you go right into solidifying the law with Capricorn. Now you got to uphold the law with Capricorn. You create it, you go through the legislation within all of this shit, and then you uphold the law with Capricorn. All right. So you gotta uphold the law that you are holding on. This why the boundaries, and this why Sagittarius can deal with boundaries and all of that good shit as well. All right. So when you're dealing with cosmic law, higher learning, vision, future timelines, remember Sagittarius rules astral projection. So our ability to be optimistic, to see beyond whatever is right there, it's like sight beyond sight. Okay, this looks this way, but this is where we're going. This is where we're headed, right? Remember that arrow to see what do arrows do when you on a path, right? They don't always tell you where the end of the trail is. They just tell you that you're going the right way. Okay. So this new moon opens the destiny corridor, aligning people with their next mission, right? The soul contracts of 2026. So the people, the places, the things that you need to be more in alignment with that your soul is seeking to experience, right? Is coming online. A higher octave of intuition. This is like new forms of wisdom and gnosis. You know, gnosis deals with the Gnostic beliefs or beyond. holding on to a belief system, right? But more so the wisdom of the Gnostic, the Gnosis, the knowing, the upgrades of your inner truth. This lunation burns away limiting beliefs from the Gemini full moon and replaces them with cosmic direction. All right. So you can expect some prophetic dreams, some psychic openings, some intuitive downloads, some renewed enthusiasm, spontaneous breakthroughs. Okay. So it's a moon of inner ignition. All right. Something should feel like it's ignited. A fire should feel like it's lit in your ass. No, I'm just bullshit. But a fire should feel like it's lit in your belly. Okay. And it might feel like it's in your chest. It might feel like it's in your back. I don't know where you're holding on to this pain at. Okay. So the ascension of faith, right? So spiritually, this new moon restores faith in self, faith in the universe, faith in divine timing. All right. So after a mentally exhausting year, because it's been mentally exhausting for a lot of people, Sagittarius brings hope again, but grounded hope, rooted in clarity instead of escapism. This is why the ancient ruler of Pisces is also Jupiter, right? So this is when the clarity comes instead of I'm trying to escape. Because the more you trying to escape, you're gonna miss the clarity because you get caught up in the pleasure of the escapism. That's what happens, you know. So when you're talking about the understanding that this moon awakens your inner guru, trusting your path, trusting your gifts, trust that the struggle had purpose. You know what I'm saying? Trust that your soul is recalibrating. All right, because the recalibration of the higher mind, Sagittarius is the higher mind, Gemini is like the lower analytical mind. Now, this new moon unifies them. So people could feel mental clarity. You could feel spiritually sharp, like you own your shit, like your intuition is on point, emotionally aligned, morally ready for the next chapter. All right. It's a soul education moon. So it's unlocking new philosophies, new understandings for you, new patterns of meaning, new spiritual languages. All right. So new ways for you to speak to yourselves and all that good shit. Now, remember, if you want a more in-depth reading for this for yourself on a personal level, make sure you get that transit reading for $99, and that comes with your personal breakdown. It comes with your ritual and all that good stuff as well. So, if you want that personal breakdown, make sure you get it. And if you didn't get this PDF, make sure you let me know so I can make sure you got it, especially for those that paid the 33, and for those that already booked the transit reading and you didn't get this PDF, make sure you let me know, text me or something. All right, make sure I get it to you tonight. That way you're gonna have two. So the people who pay for the transit reading, you will have two PDFs. You have one for yourself, and you will have one that I'm going over right now. All right. So the Sagittarius energy brings diplomacy. Now, a lot of these global conversations around shift from conflict to solutions. You're gonna see a lot of more solution-based orientated conversations around these global conflicts that people have been so talking about over the last year or so. All right. Now, Sagittarius brings diplomacy, global cooperation, cultural exchange. All right, a lot of cultures are gonna start exchanging more ideas, even foods and things like this. So, technological innovation, honest conversations. All right. So the world becomes less focused on drama, misinformation, and division. So y'all know y'all finna see a whole lot of me. I'm gonna just tell you right now, cause it's time. If you somebody who's direct and you tired of all the drama, the misinformation, and the division, and you all about the other side, the unity, no drama. If that's you and you've been waiting to pop your shit, it's time to pop your shit. Telling you right now, and more focus on solutions, right? So progress, rebuilding, restructuring systems. So rise in education, travel, justice discussions. All right, because it's like I was saying earlier in my live, I did a live on Instagram and on Facebook, and I was saying that this is a time to pick a side. Either you're on the side of humanity, is you on the side of humanity or not? That's just basically where we at. All right. So expect spikes in collective dialogue around educational reform, travel and immigration, philosophical identity, justice systems, higher law, even warfare ethics. All right. Religious or cultural freedom is going to be popping out, playing out with this. So Sagittarius governs freedom. So anything limiting, it becomes a hot topic. All right. So anything that people feel like it's restricting or whatever, you can hear you can imagine people gonna be talking about this. All right. So economic optimism turned back on. So Capricorn season brings, within begins 2 days after this, because now with it, you're gonna get more structural rebuilding. long-term planning, financial reorganization. This is going to be restore confidence in markets. All right, so consuming is going to go up, jobs, all these type of things. Just remember, I'm telling you this. All right, you about to watch and see an influx on things because the financial shift this about to happen. All right, so a lot of people been going through a lot of financial reprieve. Trust me, I know. All right, I'm one of them people. But when you're talking about keeping it pushed and staying devoted, knowing that I chose this because it's fulfilling, right? It's not something that I was doing for money or survival in a motherfucking way, right? It's something that I was doing because my heart was in it, right? So staying true, right, in those directions, and people who need to make a shift towards that. That's just the polarity. Some people are already been in it. They're already damn near at the wit's end. Damn near like I'm done. I don't know how much more I can do. You get what I'm saying? Like some people already made job changes, career changes, environment changes, moves, right? So if there's somebody that's this is there, make that move. Do it now. Don't wait. All right. Especially while some of these planets have yet to station direct, because when some of these go fully direct and a lot of these other planets start solidifying, it's like you're gonna miss that train. Don't miss that train, baby. So you got your ticket. Don't you miss that motherfucker. Trying to be the bag lady. So ready to move forward with a new direction in life. People could feel more ready to, even tired of stagnation. So ready for a new identity, ready to take some risk. I often tell people because Sagittarius kind of rules gambling, right? Leo rules like the town of Vegas and actually going to the actual casino type shit. You know what I'm saying? Taking the chance is Sag. This why most Sagittarius people they're not really big gamblers when it comes to their money, but they willing to take a chance on themselves. When they not, they gonna feel restricted. You get what I'm saying? So these are the life lessons for people like with a Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius, or even sometimes a Sagittarius rising. Sagittarius moons is kind of more their nature to do so. So being ready to move forward, was tired of the stagnation, ready for a new identity. This new moon says stop surviving and start living. All right. So many people will feel more called to change careers, move locations, start passion projects, travel, or study. All right. So if you've been thinking about taking a class, if you've been thinking about taking one of my classes, by the way, all right, now is a good time to jump in it. So embracing creativity again, soul purpose is rewritten. All right, because this lunation happens right before 2026, the 1 year in numerology, that cycle, because people are going to feel renewed purpose, new soul mission, new callings, new spiritual gifts could feel like they're awakening too. This is a spiritual graduation point. So truth comes to surface. Sagittarius exposes lies, delusions, self-deception, hidden motives. Okay, so anything dishonest is gonna collapse. I don't give a fuck what the fuck it is. Just pay attention to it. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Let it collapse. Let it fall. Because this can show up as ending a relationship built on false expectations, seeing someone's true intentions, finally understanding your own wounds. Okay. Releasing expectations that aren't aligned, all right, with what you know you deserve or desire type shit. All right. So this is a 2 moon portal. So this Gemini full moon, December 12th through the 13th, that just happened, right? They cleared the illusion, the confusion, the old stories, the old narratives, the mental tensions, the false narratives. The Sagittarius new moon ignites the truth, clarity, direction, and optimism. So a higher purpose. Gemini ends the illusion. Sagittarius begins the mission. You feel what I'm saying? Once you stop thinking about this shit, you start doing it. In actuality, you're gonna have to start being it. It's a natural consequence of anything that you do. If you're not careful, it'll consume you. This is why people get burnt the fuck out. Because this is what you do, it's not who you are. So whatever you're doing, make sure it's who you are and not just what you're doing. Because if it's not in alignment, it's gonna burn you the fuck out faster than you probably been good over the past 5, 10 years. I don't know, right? But when you talking about now, the burnout is gonna be more intensified because this is what the energies are doing. This ain't me predicting no shit. Well, it kind of is, but I'm preparing you. Okay. So when you talking about the winter solstice, 2 days after this new moon, this solstice dropped us into deep introspection, karmic accountability, spiritual alignment, ancestral reconnection, the birth of the inner light. So this is one of the most powerful solstices of the decade because it represents what structure will you build in 2026. All right. So shift into Capricorn season. Once the sun shifts into Capricorn, plans become solid, goals become realistic, commitments become grounded, discipline increases, emotional resilience strengthens. A Capricorn season brings new systems, new rituals, new habits, long-term planning. All right. It's like Sag, the cosmos is saying, you just pick the destination. We got the route. Don't worry about the route. We got you on which way it's gonna go. You just tell us where you going first. You pick where you going, the universe gonna pick how you gonna get there. You get what I'm saying? So the material manifestation, Sagittarius enthusiasm, Capricorn's practicality creates a perfect launch sequence. Whatever it is you've been wanting to do, launch it, do it, move on it, make it happen. All right. So the rise of global truth seeking as a collective humanity enters philosophical awakening, moral restructuring, higher ethical standards, new spiritual curiosity. All right, curiosity killed the cat, satisfaction brought him back, huh? You know, so don't lose your curiosity because you ain't died from shit that you was curious about. I guarantee you still here. It didn't kill you. All right, desire for meaning, wanting to know the true meaning of shit. What is this showing me? What is it teaching me? Right? So, people begin to question their beliefs, their leaders, their past choices, their spiritual alignment. This creates a collective identity shift. Pay attention, it's happening. So the expansion of consciousness plus technology, right? Damn, I was supposed to put techno spiritual right there. Because that's what we dealing with, techno spiritual. Because Sagittarius governs exploration, knowledge, innovation. So you can expect breakthroughs in AI ethics, global communication, neuroscience, bio-spiritual tech, cross-cultural collaboration. This collective consciousness zooms out to see the bigger picture. All right. So evolution of relationship dynamics, because people stop seeking trauma bonds and shit. This is huge. This is what you watching people fight to still hold on to. All them what you heard, the gender war, people added with each other, man versus woman, and niggas all mad and women, all this, everything that's going on. This is the breaking of the old bonding. We can't bond those ways no more. So the trauma bonds are breaking, the false compatibility, all that going with shit because it just was for whatever purposes. Yeah, all that shit is gonna be all the codependent karmic loops. That shit is breaking. So people gonna start begin to seeking truth, growth, expansion, aligned values, shared missions. Hey man, I don't care how I feel, how my body, whatever the fuck. Are we on the same mission? Are we on the same path? Can I drop whatever I don't like about you? Can I see beyond my own bullshit, your own bullshit, and say, you know what? We still got some shit that's we aligned that we supposed to be doing. All right. So this is like, this is shared missions and aligned values. We ain't in this shit alone. Right. So the spiritual awakening is going to intensify. This new moon triggers clairvoyant surges. Okay, so understand the prophetic dream and the synchronicity, the ancestral messages, simultaneous or like spontaneous soul memories, because spiritual teachers are awakening. A lot of y'all are awakening. A lot of y'all are not meant to teach people through actually like part of the way I'm doing it, but just the fact that you embody the shit that you done been through, or embodying a higher expression, embodying authenticity. And you don't gotta burn yourself out trying to teach people. You just be you. I tell people all the time, the reason why this shit's so easy for me is because I'm not teaching you shit. Actually, I'm just being me. I just so happen to have teachings. I'm just being, and because as a natural consequence of me being, you gonna learn some shit. You understand what I'm saying? That don't have to be defined. People can learn shit just from being. I teach my children. People can teach you what to do and what not to do. Okay. So when you know that the whole world is teaching you some shit, you become your own guru. I promise you that shit. Okay. So it's the moon of gnosis, the deeper internal knowing. So moving into 2026, this evolutionary arc, it's like this 2025 9-year cycle completion into the year of one initiation, right? It's like out of the feminine, the masculine principle, the fluctuation of both, the duality, the nine, the vortex, into the one, right? The new moon. is the bridge from completion into new beginning, releasing into rebuilding, clearing into creating, ending into launching. Humanity enters 2026 with a new spiritual blueprint. So this new moon is like the activation point. So the key things to watch: ignition of new identity, restored faith, spiritual truth, release of limitation, expansion into new timelines, future orientated thinking, clarity and purpose, breakthrough decisions, portal into long-term stability. I'm telling you, it's a portal into more long-term stability. All you got to do is just stay the path, stay the course, hold the line. All right. So the inner fire awakening, renewed optimism. So this new moon is going to help rewrite your narrative, activate your purpose. It closes that last chapter of your old self. It launches you into a new destiny track. It prepares your spirit for 2026 initiation. Lights up the inner fire you thought was gone. Restore faith in yourself and humanity. Realigns the soul with truth. It's a cosmic ignition switch, baby. So a lot of people been waiting on the switch to get flipped. God damn it, the cosmos is flipping it. All right. Now, I want to touch on some cardiology. Diamond and I, she brought this to my attention, which I felt like was very significant for me to talk about tonight, especially dealing with the way the cards kind of can dictate the days and show us how the days can be mapped out based off the energetic expression, the solar value of cards, the challenging aspects to a card, the reward aspects to a card. All right, so I'm going to touch on a little bit of the United States' energy, just in particular. All right, because this energy of the United States is a jack of diamonds. I am a jack of diamonds. It's only right that I speak on this. You know what I'm saying? What is the jack of diamonds? You know what I'm saying? What does this do to the jack of diamonds dealing with the ten of diamonds in Jupiter, knowing that Jupiter will be moving into Leo, which is very much so powering a push, right? Powering an energetic spark. You get what I'm saying? So I'm looking at this whole thing and thinking about, this card cycle moves the natural or the national field into a ten of diamonds phase, right? So the net effect is its amplification. This jack of diamonds tendencies are enlarged and given capacity to manifest at scales, right? So the expansion of the markets, the cultural reach, right? The U.S.'s commerce, communication, machinery can grow rapidly. New industries can scale. This is all the things. Yeah, these are the trades. Some that, yeah, jump in this export increases, cultural soft power proficiencies or proficiates. Now, this is gonna be like the legal institutions, the growth, the Jupiter often brings law, treaties, policy frameworks and shit. Okay. That expand and remit of the institutions. So this is opportunity to jump into those new reforms, those new ways of doing things, structuring your nonprofit to fit these dynamics. You get what I'm saying? Structuring your LLC, your business to provide these needs, to provide these services, right? Ushering in these new things, okay? Being innovative, all right, because sometimes for protection and sometimes for advantage, you're going to see a lot of these things expand or remit the laws, the treaty. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes people remake laws and people do these things sometimes for protection and sometimes for their advantage. We see this happen with the United States all the time, right? So we may see a lot of major like legislative shifts or initiatives around trade, tech, finance, education, or international frameworks. Okay. So when you're dealing with this whole thing about this international framework, beliefs and value and the amplification of that, and a national narrative behind this, right, can become more I would say more confident in how we express that and how that shows up in our reality. All right. And how we move about these experiences. Now, when you're dealing with this becoming more confident and missionary. Now, the reason why I wanted to kind of put a pause right here with the missionary aspect, when you're dealing with the missionary aspect, this whole thing brings us out of a place to say, okay, how does the United States normally start that shit with people, y'all? Right? They go in, they conquer a country, they blow up all your shit, right? And then before you know it, what else do they bring you, right? They bring you the Red Cross and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they bring you foreign aid. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're talking about how they begin to intercede or so you can watch this start to happen. Okay, this is why I wanted to bring light to this, because this whole energy of the projecting values outward, both positively and for humanitarian aspects. Motherfuckers I always say they doing humanitarian work, and they come over there and finna fuck up your whole goddamn shit, right? So being diplomatic and negatively, even dealing with the paternalistic or the even if they see the way the United States moves and the way they deal with opportunity plus overreach type shit, that's the Jupiter. It blesses, and I put the B lesses. I should have put B lesses expansion, because now it can look one way, but it's really another, right? But it can also foster the hubris feeling, right? Because now it's two sides of this coin. These motherfuckers come in with this Jupiter, this expansion, but they the ones created the fucking restrictions. Now they give you the money to fix the global policies or whatever the weather patterning, whatever it is they fucked up. They come in to give you the blessing to expand it. But guess who you owe? Right? So United States is a jack of diamonds, as opportunism, right, can morph into large scale speculation of risky geopolitical adventurism unless held by wise restraint, which we know the United States ain't gonna operate too much in a wise way, not in your dynamic of what you think wise is. They're gonna always do what's wise for them. All right, so that eight of clubs, that Pluto pressure with that ten of diamonds, Jupiter expansion, interplay, tensions, and possibilities, because it's catalyzed by the reckoning before the expansion. It's got to be a reckoning. Anything, the darkness got to come to the light. Chaos becomes before order. This is where the cosmos work. That's why they do the shit that they do. They know in the midst of chaos is where you create order, right? So it's gonna unearth a lot of these shadows and these force. It's gonna force a lot of purging. You get what I'm saying? Like, so, forcing that purgation, that purgation, and that Jupiter's expansion into the ten of diamonds can only be healthy if the purge happens first. Because if the purge is resisted, the expansion risk magnifies, right? And that varied, dealing with this, it brings about the uncovering of a lot of systematic inequality, becoming more entrenched. So, best case path for Pluto exposed to corruption, toxicity. These revelations enable structural reforms. Jupiter then expands the reform systems, creating more equitable growth. All right, so we're gonna start to see opportunities for more equality. This is why they had to get rid of DEI. That if I tell you that was cosmic, you would think it was Trump. I'm just telling you how real this is, because the strengthening of these institutions has to happen, and it has to get to a better order on a public scale. Okay. So worst case pass, because Pluto could expose, right? Pluto's exposures are kind of radically and very short term gain. So institutions could double down, right? So Jupiter could amplify the inequality and then a reckless expansion. So this is a boom that sees a later crisis. Now, I'm gonna tell you straight up, the United States might move lateral toward this energy, right? Which can equate to more restrictive laws, right? And this could make you feel like you're not expanding. Because I know they love to combat consciousness. That's why they came up with COVID. They love to combat these cosmic shifts with their own rituals and shit. It's just what they do with every holiday any goddamn way. So the practical sign to watch is going to be expansionary policies, major financial or trade initiatives, a cultural export campaigns, launched immediately after big institutional scandals or revelations. All right. So watch for a big scandal and then boom, something that follows it. It was planned. Telling you. I ain't gonna say nothing about Charlie Kirk and shit, how that could have been a whole hologram, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But when you're dealing with reform forms that follow revelations, and also the growth is more likely to stabilize. So if not, turbulence gonna follow. So remember, a lot of this gonna have to happen. You just gonna have to get out of the way of it. I'm just making you aware of it because the spiritual implications for national karma and collective psyche, collective catharsis, right? Because this is like the opportunity for that. Because as everybody else becomes stagnant, you can keep fucking pushing. See, this combination is like a crucible with like a uplift, when an uplift of possibility. Because when everybody else becomes stagnant and mentally drained, and they become so spiritually deprived, this is gonna happen, right? This creates an opportunity for you to say, oh, nah, I see everybody needs are looking for something. Everybody's looking for something. When you know what they looking for, you know what to provide. Hey, now. So if you got an idea, if I'm sparking something in your consciousness, if I'm sparking something in your psyche right now, all right, jump on that. Don't hesitate, don't vacillate. Create it now, all right? Because this is a good period for us to jump into this integration and do some regenerative practices. Because dealing with the higher ethics instead of merely scaling tactics. So spiritual maturity would look like commerce guided regenerative practices, corporate governance rooted in dignity, messaging used for constructive formation and not manipulation, right? So the shadow integration work becomes a civic practice. So healing is not only private, it must be institutionalized. So it's time to bring this healing to corporations and shit in layman's terms. You feel me? Like you about to start seeing it. I've already been seeing it anyway. I've been working on getting my shit to. I've been saying that's been a vision of mine for the longest. Anybody that's been following me and been on Clubhouse with me or whatever the case may be, y'all know that's been something I done talked about. I want to get to the point to where the government pays for people's readings and shit. Like straight up. Paying for your herbs and paying for what you need. You ain't got to do nothing. Just sign up, make sure you apply, make sure you qualify, you meet the qualification. The qualification will be so minimal, so minuscule to where damn near anybody can. You feel what I'm saying? This is the scale of where we're going, y'all. So being able to use this government, you see that, right? So just cause this energy is there and they're gonna be using it for their own, you can tap in and get you some grants and tap in now. I'm telling you, because when the system is ready, because these new beginnings, this universal year, right? Because this universal one is new cycles, and the year one opens up new beginnings, fresh timelines, foundational projects for a nation moving into Jupiter years. Okay, after Pluto pressure, all of us been feeling the pressure of Pluto in the United States. They've been making sure we feel this shit. You understand what I'm saying? So after this pressure of Pluto, right, we can use this year one as a movement to refund, to refound, not repeat, right? The energetic director found to a new on wiser principles. If the Jacodama system is ready to reorientate or to reorient commerce and messaging toward service, year one offers structural reset opportunities for new laws, institutions, and leadership models. Get ahead of the game. The fire horse, you're high energy, unpredictable, fast, independent. The fire horse is volatile, brave, and fiercely individualistic. It magnifies impulsive expansion, sudden revolts, the rapid creative breakthroughs, and it heightens the risk of accidents when discipline is weak. So for the US, pros, accelerated innovation, bold reforms, energetic entrepreneurship, rapid geopolitical initiatives and shit. The cons could be rash, risk taking, sudden, social unrest, flaring polarizations, overreaching in foreign or economic policy. Y'all know damn well that's what the United States is known for. We known for getting in somebody else's business. Now, what the fuck you think society has come to? Tell me when I'm bullshitting around here now. Ain't where we at in society. Don't people thrive off being in other people's business? Can't you get paid? Ain't that the content? Don't people want the tea? You understand what I'm saying? So why do you think they're allowing people to create content? Why do you think they ain't even tripping? Right? On people talking about people coming doing whatever you want to do. You can come on the internet, stay whatever for a little while. But we starting to witness the restrictions starting to kick in, are we not? So what you think gonna happen when they start judging you based off your content? Do you think all these people out here that's creating content gonna still be able to create content based off gossip? You see what I'm saying? Like, so these breakthroughs that are happening, and when you truly understand the power of that fire horse and that volatile energy and that individualistic energy, this is saying to you, saying to us, fuck the bullshit. This is saying to us on a collective level, it's that old saying, you want to go fast, you go alone. You want to go far, you go with other people. Well, when you dealing with the power of Aquarius, it's saying that you're gonna have to deal with the people. So, would you rather go with people that you don't have to think for, or do you want to go with people who you do got to think for? Do you want to go with people that know who the fuck they are, or do you want to still be dealing with people who trying to figure out who the fuck they are? You see the difference here? You see where we're going? You got to have discernment for that. And when somebody shows you that it's not in alignment, you see how I'm going back to the earlier parts of the PDF, right? If it's not in alignment, you see what I'm saying? So you can't create businesses and long term stability with people who are still stuck in their old ways or old ways of thinking or old ideologies or not want to integrate, not want to acclimate, not want to use their gifts, not want to trust their discernment. You can't do nothing with them people but leave them where the fuck they at. I'm just tell you straight up. So when you're dealing with this energy, right, and you're dealing with the combined energy, dealing with the Plutarian aspects of this thing, right, it's a beautiful time. When you're dealing with these bold reforms and all this type of shit, and that Pluto's pressure with Gemini, with Jupiter's expansion, that year one initiation and fire horse validity is high risk stakes window, right? So it's a beautiful time to take something that I'm finna risk it all, baby, for this move right here, right? So the nation can either use the pressure to refound systems and then scale wisely. It can trigger fast, unstable expansion that magnifies the structural rot, right? Or it can, when you begin to create these concrete signs, watch these concrete signs in a short term aspect, right? The major investigative revelation, the high profile resignations, the regulatory crackdowns, the proposal. You can get caught up in all of this shit, or you can create your own shit. All this gonna happen right here, right? The market moves, the sector is gonna change, the sudden shifts in platforms, media governance. We witnessing it right now. A lot they already shifting. A lot of these platforms are already shifting to a new look, a new style. They showing it to us. Man, they put the shifts in our face. You think it's a coincidence that YouTube, Canva, all these different goddamn people done shifted they shit, they face, they having a facelift with Neptune and Saturn going into Aries? Like these motherfuckers are doing a facelift. A facelift is basically the same as rebranding. It's the same product, it just look different. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you use technology, it's like, oh, we done added this, we've upgraded this. So, what do you need to upgrade and add? In some cases, you can mimic what the fuck going on, but how can you make it your own now? See, this when you take an ideology or a thought form and you alchemize it into your own. Okay, bet they doing this. Oh, it's time for me to do this then. I don't mean I gotta rebrand the way they doing it. I don't mean I gotta get down like they getting down, but I'm gonna do it my way. So it's a beautiful time to do it your motherfucking way. Okay. And it's like the cosmos is saying, doing it your way is going to show other people how to do it their way. All right. And somebody's watching you. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Somebody is watching you. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You got to be cool with that. Are you cool knowing somebody watching you? That means you a whole motherfucking act. Give them a show, baby. See, that's Jupiter moving into Leo. Give them a show, baby. Give them something to look at, right? So when you truly understand that this whole thing that the United States is about to start in involving themselves into energetically, it's natural. Okay, they supposed to be doing the shit that they doing, but that's why you got to focus on what the fuck you supposed to be doing. Okay. So, in the medium term, 6 to 24 months, new legislative frameworks for tech, finance, trade, establishment of reformation, even the major public institutions, new private public initiative frame that's rebuilding. It's gonna say they're rebuilding, but they really put new initiatives out on our ass. Okay, so just being mindful of what that looks like, even on the consumer projections, even on the stronger aspects of the public investment in the social goods, because if reform fails, right? Watch for financial bubbles, geopolitical adventurism and shit, social fragmentation, and authoritarian consolidation of influence networks. All right. So when you're dealing with this practical, spiritual, and civic responses, how to engage in this wisely. All right, for citizens, leaders, and institutions who want to align constructively type shit, right? Civic and institutional practices, transparent audits, truth-telling mechanisms. Use Pluto's reveal as a cleansing tool, right? Create regenerative economic policies, and then tether Jupiter's expansion to social equality, equity. And then this is going to deal with the ecological stewardship. So stewarding something that benefits the ecosystem. Okay. Now, this ain't just all about the earth and the plants, and this also deals with people are the greatest goddamn part of this ecosystem. All right. So if what you're doing is going to benefit people, then yeah, you will be straight. Okay. So when you equate this to our own life experiences and what it means for us to truly walk into this dynamic, like I was saying before, it's a beautiful time for us to be alive. All right, so the spiritual and collective health practices, collective shadow, publicly funded truth reckoning initiative, community dialogues, restorative justice programs, rituals for responsibility, leaders publicly commit to binding ethical codes, civic rituals around transparency, education for discernment, media literacy campaigns, civic curriculums, even reforms that teach critical thinking and ethical commerce. So practice of restraint, even to create institutional cooling off periods before major policy or trade volatile moves and shit out that window. So individual civic action support, watchdogs, and independent press. Okay, like people like what's her name, Candace Owens and shit like that. Because a lot of these people, shit, they out here really are pulling information that is really breaking the veil on a lot of shit. So back leaders who propose institutional reform and legislative teeth type shit. When they also in the grind, they also out there fighting. They in the courtrooms or they in the meetings, right? Investing time, energy into local resilience, community co-op, civic education. If you got to start that in your neighborhood, it's a beautiful time for you to start that where you are. Practice discernment and consumption, and which narratives you amplify. All right. Be mindful of what you consume emotionally and shit. All right. That's the basis of what that means. All right. So just be mindful of what you find yourself into. Because on the short antibiotic prescription, this is going to be dealing with our chemical steps to expose the counter, reform, and scale. Let the Eight of Clubs, Pluto energy surface the truth. Then hold the institutions accountable. Reform structures. Then let the Ten of Diamonds, Jupiter expand that scale, and then you can help in reforming a system right now. If you see something wrong with a system, if you become the person that is
Hello?
being injustice by a system or whatever the case may
Hello?
be, if it's a system at your work or your job
Hello?
or whatever the case may be, it is a beautiful time for you to become a part of the change of it. It's the reason why you're experiencing it. It's not a place for you to escape. It's literally you can literally get ahead of change right now and reform a lot of shit if it's something that is affecting you or making you feel any type of way. Making sure that you tap into that because clearly the universe is saying that the United States needs it. Okay, so use this founding year to install more durable structures rather than quick wins. Channel fire horse energy into discipline and innovation. Apply the courageous heat of the fire horse towards visionary, right, but well governed experiments, pilot projects with stakeholder oversight. All right, so doing something that you know is going to lead to a bigger experience or something greater. The United States as a jack of diamonds at a crossroads. The Pluto Eight of Clubs has been cracking open the hidden structures of what the nation is being asked to face its shadow around wealth, communication, and concentrated networks. The Ten of Diamonds, yours present as an enormous possibility of expansion, not merely for profit, but expansion blessed by wisdom, legal maturity, and global responsibility. But that promise on the matures and the purification demanded by Pluto and is accepted and digested. Otherwise, expansion magnifies the rot, right? So a lot of people on the interpersonal level gonna be forced to expand, but it's only gonna show you all the shit that's stopping you from doing it, right? So what is rotted? What do you need to let die? Now this comes to also the way you start to look at this United States of America. Some of those thought forms might have to die too. You might have to become more mindful of how you looking at the United States of America. My bad, y'all. You might have to realize that When you looking at the way you look at this world, might have to change. The way you see yourself in this world is gonna have to change. The way you see. Hold on, y'all. Can y'all see my screen?
No, I can see your icon.
Okay, hold on. I think I messed up and it stopped sharing. Let me get back to it real quick. Okay, here. Okay, yeah, it stopped sharing. Okay, getting back to it now. All right. What good says
Yeah, we can see it now.
okay, big. Okay. Now, when we're dealing with this, this United States is definitely dealing with a shift. We all have been witnessing it. We all have been a part of it. We've all been subjected to it, whether we like it or not. Even other countries who aren't even, people that don't even live in the United States have still been experiencing this fucking shift, right? This is just the power or the reach of the United States of America. Now, when you understand that it's a possibility for expansion, not merely for profit, but expansion blessed by wisdom, legal maturity, and global responsibility. But that promise only matures in the purification demanded by Pluto is accepted and digested. Otherwise, expansion magnifies the rock. As the world steps into the universal year of a one, new beginnings and a fire horse, seasonal tone, fast, brave, combustible energy. The next months, the next months of the years, the next months of the year and years will be a test. With the Jack of Diamonds, America becoming a wise merchant steward, or will youthful optimism scale into systematic fragility? Right. So the spiritual work is collective integration of the shadow, the maturation of the markets, and the cultivation of ethical imagination, large enough to birth an enduring renewal. We can literally change the trajectory of the United States by what we choose to now consume going forward, energetically, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Will you now consume consciously and not compulsively? That was just my question with that one. All right. Now, this is also a sacred pause in time. Okay. Now, this part right here, you know, when you thinking about where we are, it can almost like we all need a pause. We all need a break. You get what I'm saying? So within that dynamic, it's like asking ourselves, where is that pause or that break necessary? All right. So I can't determine what is necessary for you. Okay. Now only you can determine that shit. But this pause that is break, it's like the universe is saying, okay, now here you go. All right. It's a good time to recalibrate. It's a good time to shift. It's a good time to really, get off into this lunation period. And this new moon does not behave as like a typical so-called lunation. When a new moon occurs within days of a solstice, the time itself is thick. Yeah, we're in the thick of it. All right. So literally we can feel like we're in the thick of this shit. It can feel very heavy for a lot of people right now. Now, because this is like it's suspended. It's like ritualized. The cosmos pauses, then it reorients, right? After it comes out of the winter solstice and all of this shit. The Sagittarius new moon, right? And governing meaning, belief systems, truth seeking, and moral compass, right? And the story we tell ourselves about life. You know, you got to understand that's what Sagittarius literally rules. The story that you tell yourself about this life, right? The new moon asks what belief must die so a truer vision can be born, right? See, you see why it's an individual thing? When you sit with yourself, I don't know what comes up in your mind that says this got to die. I know exactly what I need to let go of. I know exactly what thought forms that still haunt me, that still challenge me, right? This is an internal thing. So this is why I'm so big on the individual work. This is why I'm so mindful that it sometimes it don't matter about whatever it is you think is right for somebody's life. It is always up to somebody to choose. And if you begin to deal with people and not honor somebody's free will, right? And thinking that you can impose a thought form, impose a philosophy, right? Because this is what I was saying earlier about a lot of people don't realize how they live through other people's philosophies, right? I'm not here to teach my philosophy. This is not my philosophy. All right. This is just me breaking down the energies of the cosmos so you can understand them, so you can get to know your own philosophy. Why you think the way you think, why you feel the way you feel. Right. So these experiences become more amplified and magnified in everybody's life because we all are dealing with these energies. We all are dealing with these thought forms. We all have to navigate through the same mental plane of existence type shit. Okay. So we're all sharing this energy. All right. Now, this layer of the solstice is like, this becomes a rites of passage or a moment for humanity's consciousness. Right. Now, the dark and light theme, but the hemispheres are the mirror work. All right. Because the northern hemisphere in the winter solstice is the longest night of the year. The sun reaches its lowest point. Okay. So when you're dealing with this symbolically, it's like the ego has descended. Okay. Now, this is why this is very significant when it comes to us also shifting with Jupiter going to shift into Leo. Okay, it's very dynamic when it's talking about the ego, and then we're dealing with a resurrection. Okay, and that's why Jupiter being Cancer right now is like the child being born in the manger. All right, so when we're dealing with the solstice and the northern hemisphere, this is like the longest night of the year, right? We know that the sun reaches this lowest point. We're dealing with the deep rest, like the energetic meaning, that deep rest, the cellular withdrawal, the nervous system downshifting, the shadow integration, the womb consciousness. Okay, this is not a collapse. This is an incubation. All right. A lot of people think the United States is a lot of people think the
About
United States
five,
is
three, two, oh,
collapsing and
six.
shit. But
When a
actually,
little
this is
silver
the
flame
incubation
triangle
period. All right.
between
So
around 21
what
and
is
about
incubating? What is in that goddamn oven? You get what I'm saying? What is baking? What is that need to be birthed? Right? So all these things that are coming out of you, out of the body, the pain body, the emotional body, right? All these things are now coming into I would say a place of realization and also actualization. So when they become actualized, they can become realized. Then you can start to embody some shit. All right. So what goes quiet here is what will become wise. Whatever narratives, whatever it is that you stop feeding into, whatever goes quiet here will become more wise. You're gonna come out of this with more wisdom, more awareness of yourself. All right. So if you allow the silence to just consume you and not allow it to corrupt you, because for a lot of us, sometimes silence can corrupt the shit out of us, right? And then we find ourselves in this mental loop all over again, and we ain't went nowhere. You was just sitting still by yourself, and all of a sudden your mind just took you places. All right. So the southern hemisphere is the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, the maximum solar exposure. Symbolically, it's totally visible, right? When something is in the dark, this is what light does. See, this the trust I'm talking about with the darkness and the light. All of y'all in y'all homes right now, right? Well, a lot of y'all could be in y'all homes or wherever you are. If you are in your home right now, and even if you get home, when you get home tonight, I want you to practice. I want you to see how real this is, right? About how we trust ourselves in the darkness. Ask yourself how long you've been living in your house, how long you've been in the space you in. And if you can get it pitch dark, I mean completely pitch dark in your goddamn house, right? To where you can't see nothing, okay? Will you still trust the step that you take? How many of y'all can truly say that, oh, I can trust the steps I take if I turn out the light? If it was pitch dark in my house, will I be able to trust the steps that I'm taking? You understand what I'm saying? So you see my equation here? Because you know what that does? Being able to, when you start to move that way, because you don't know where something's at, you don't know what's, if you finna bump into something, don't that make you more present? Don't that make you more aware? You feel what I'm saying? So when you truly trust yourself to navigate through the darkness, you consequently become more aware. All right. Now, if a lot of us we haven't practiced this, but if you begin to put this into practice, so how can I prepare myself for the darkness then? Okay, Mr. Guru, Mr. Sensei. I'm not gonna be able to trust myself in my home. I don't trust myself in my home if everything get completely dark. I will get a little apprehensive. It's natural. It's natural, right? Yes, it's natural. I'm not gonna argue with that. But you know what you can do to prepare yourself? Start to count the steps between your bed and between your dresser. Count the steps between your bedroom and your bathroom. Count the steps, the space between your couch and your dining room. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you cultivate this awareness when the lights go out, you prepared. You see what your guru just did for you right there? Okay. I just prepared you for the darkness, okay? So you can prepare yourself for the darkness by embracing how to use the motherfucking light. So imagine if people ain't been using the light, right? To light up the path, to create the way. And now here come the winter time and the shit finna get dark. You see why a lot of people start scrambling in the winter? Motherfuckers start acting like they didn't know Christmas was gonna come this time next year. You understand what I'm saying? Motherfuckers start acting like they want. You see the Capricorn shit they kick in. You see what I just did right there, right? So when you truly understand the power of preparation, and when you're not prepared, and when the opportunity comes, yeah, you're gonna be afraid. Kobe Bryant said something powerful before, and they asked him like, "Do you get nervous or whatever?" He was like, "Nervous." I'm like, "Nah, I don't get nervous." They were like, "Why you don't get nervous, Kobe? How is it possible that you people get butterflies in their stomach?" God, he was like, "Because if I get nervous, that means I'm not prepared." You see, I'm bringing you back to the optimism, even dealing with Sagittarius. Preparation meets opportunity, right? So a lot of times, the opportunity don't go to the person with the best skill level, right? Even in sports and shit. The opportunity don't go to the person with the best skill level all the time, right? It don't go to the person that clearly was supposed to get the fucking job, the person that was the clear cut motherfucking favorite. It goes to the person that was most prepared, and sometimes a little luck is involved. You see what I'm saying? You see, it's just Jupiter shit, baby. So if you, when you prepared, an opportunity comes, and you know luck is on your side, baby. You know a lot of shit can happen now, but you got to be prepared to take that chance and take that leap and get out there when that time comes. Okay, so when we're dealing with this, because what's seen here, right in this place, can no longer be denied as well. All right, so it's like coming out of that denial. All right, coming out of that, because you got to be able to see things clearly in order for that to happen. Okay, so when we're dealing with this restoration period and all this good stuff, the revelations that are going to come with that, it's like also the full expression, right? Even dealing with the creative overflow, the nervous system activation, the embodiment of truth, because what is seen here can no longer be denied. So together, our chemical balance, humanity is collectively learning how to hold light without bypassing the motherfucking shadow. Oh, man, if somebody, if y'all, if I do this all the time, but I barely get participation, so I'm gonna do it again, right? I'm very redundant. I'm very repetitive. If somebody takes something and screenshots it or shares it and tags me in it, anything that resonates, I might give somebody with a free transit reading. All right, so if you want to do that, if I say something that resonates, or if you want to post one of my sayings and tag me in it on any social media platform, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I might give somebody with a free transit reading. Okay. Now, cause here, when you dealing with what is seen and what could no longer be denied because of that chemical balance, like to hold the light without bypassing the shadow, how to enter darkness without losing hope. You see what I just told y'all, how to enter darkness without losing hope, knowing that you prepared, right? This is also the middle way, like the Buddha said. You understand? Taking the middle path, baby. So the double dose of the shadows and why this portal is so potent. When you're dealing with the new moon, the solstice is a 0 point, a reset. It's like an end of a belief system. The Sagittarius turn of the winter wheel, right? The solstice, this is the nervous system recalibration, the psychic clearing of ancestral and collective memory. The sudden fatigue or insomnia could definitely kick in with this. Just being mindful of how that can play out, especially when it comes down to the dynamics of your nervous system and all the things that I was speaking on earlier as well. So when you're talking about the vivid dreams, the memories resurfacing, the emotional release, without clear cause, right? It's just coming out, just crying for nothing or releasing for nothing. I don't know where the hell it came from. You get what I'm saying? Like yeah, it's a beautiful thing to really just let it go, right? Let it go, let it flow. Okay. So this is correct. You know, when you dealing with this that emotional release in the sense that I can't go back to the old story, you right. You can't. Okay, you right. You can't. All right. So planets going direct and change the signs, and this is like we're exiting a prolonged period of a retrograde review, right? Which is like a lot of delayed momentum, psychological composting, and entering a phase of forward propulsion. This is with consequences. You know what I'm saying? So this is also going to be. God damn it! Hold on. No, I lost my screen again, y'all. Let me get back to it real quick. Hold on. I keep on tapping the side button, y'all. My bad. Okay, I'm back at it. Hold on. Let me know y'all can see me again.
Yep.
All right, thank you. So when you're dealing with this, the planet's going direct because we're literally exiting this prolonged period of these retrogrades and entering this phase of forward propulsion with consequences, right? Because now the shit you don't do basically gonna have consequences. You know how normally, you know, you can not do something and be like, I just didn't do it. I just now the conversations you're not having, the things you're not moving on, the experiences you're not creating, the shit that's in your heart that you're not trusting, all of that type of shit is gonna have consequences now. All right. So it would behoove you in my TI voice, you understand me, to move on some things so you don't want to have to deal with the consequences because you're gonna think it's karma. And a lot of people gonna be like, it's karma, it's karma. No, it's consequences, motherfucker. Karma and consequences kind of rest in two different areas and two different playing fields. You understand? So when you truly embrace the power of that and what that means, you will find your way out of your own bullshit. All right. And that is a beautiful time for us to truly embrace that we are alive. Okay. You are alive. You are alive. All that good shit. All right. So hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second here. So being able to deal with this because Saturn entering a phase, it's like reality re-architected, right? So things are really being architecturally restructured around this motherfucker on a lot of different levels when we deal with Saturn. Even that phase of the propulsion and the sequences of that and that discipline and boundaries, the nervous system and maturity. So we're having to mature. This is a time of maturation, right? And if the nervous system is being matured by the cosmos, which has been happening your whole life. This has a lot to do with the chakras and the way we grow up, the way our life moves through 7 year intervals, meaning every 7 years you go through a different phase of consciousness. You didn't control the fact that your body went through an adolescent phase. You didn't control the fact that one day you started to understand consequences. How you dealt with that was always you. Your mind has been forever evolving, right? Have you always been in
Yeah, I know
control of
something
how
about
it
that.
develops and how your
I was
body
like, yeah,
develops,
I talked to
right?
them.
These are the
They
things
don't
that the
ever.
cosmos,
I said,
the
don't you
cosmos are in
ever.
control of that,
I said,
not
if
you,
the parents is nice
right?
to
But
you,
how we
you are
acclimate
nice
to
to
this
you.
body
I said,
and
if
how at
Derek
home
doesn't
we
feel
become
good
in this
today,
body
is she what,
is
you know,
truly
so,
our own things, right? So Saturn moves direct into new
and Derek,
terrain,
I
right?
said,
The
you just
collective
want to
structure
do
began locking in. Choices made
it.
now become
I said, Mama
long-term
asked you,
frameworks.
what
So
day is it
immature
now?
coping
I
systems
said, Derek,
collapse. If it's too
I said,
immature, you
I said,
holding on
I
to
asked you,
old
I'm doing
ways and shit or
something.
doing shit.
You
Yeah, that shit
answer
ain't gonna last long.
I said, she
So
goes,
new nervous
I don't
nervous
know,
system
does your
impact,
mama know to take
chronic
all the
stress
time?
pattern.
I don't know if
This is
people like
also
the
gonna deal with
process, does your
more
mama,
bodily
oh, well, I don't
demands and
know,
all
I
that
could
type of
figure
stuff.
out
Hold
there
on real
saying,
quick,
your
y'all.
mama that got a
Cause I don't
Twitter
want to
for
say too
her.
much. I'll be
I
right
don't
here
know why
someday.
their selfie is like that.
Let me get this
She
here. Who was
stuff.
that?
I think that's Brian.
No, I got him. All right, there you go. So okay, let me go back to sharing my screen here. All right. Now, when we're dealing with the chronic stress patterns, all right, the body demands sustainability. Burnout becomes impossible to ignore. Okay, I'm just tell you right now, you ain't gonna now the root chakra and the solar plexus are what's being affected here. So the signals you can look for is tightening of your jaw. If you catch yourself constantly clenching your jaws and shit, adrenaline fatigue or lower back tension. Okay, this was related to the Saturn shift. If you feeling any of that, that's Saturn shifting in your chart. And like I said, you can get more of a specific breakdown for yourself by booking the transits reading. Okay. Now, when you're dealing with the fog lifting with Neptune going direct, right? See, this is truth versus illusion. So this is like spiritual clarity. Okay, so Neptune shifting direction and signs it dissolves. So spiritually bypassing collective denial, addictions to fantasy, media, ideology, savior narratives. All this shit has got to die. The nervous system impact, emotional detox, heightened sensitivity, empaths feel everything more clearly now. Now you able to say this what my emotion versus what was yours versus what's not. You get what I'm saying? Like that's the whole thing about that. Being able to know what's your feelings and what's not your feelings. All right. So that whole thing is being able to clarify that. It's like being able to just observe and not absorb. You feel what I'm saying? Sometimes as empaths or whatever, people can absorb everything and you don't ever observe it. So once you start observing, you can stop absorbing. Okay? And that's gonna be after the false narratives or whatever you think you identify with and all that type of shit dies. All right, so this has a lot to do with the third eye and the crown chakra. So you can feel pressure in the head, watery emotions, sudden grief, or even compassion. And Uranus in the nervous system awakener, this is going to be dealing with the liberation, the shock. Okay, so this can also bring in electrical systems of consciousness. All right, so as it moves forward with sudden awakenings increase, old identities rupture, collective timeline split, nervous system impact. All right, so fight or flight activation, sudden insight or anxiety. Okay, you might get some insight and then get some anxiety behind it. A need for more grounding rituals. All right, the throat chakra, the nervous system, the meridians are going to be affected by this. All right, now this has a lot to do with any twitching in the eyes, restlessness, heart palpitations, or sudden clarity that just comes upon you. All right. Now, Jupiter is the expansion of the meaning. The theme is around growth and belief and justice, the future vision. Jupiter going direct after this new moon amplifies new philosophies, ethical reorientation, collective moral questions. The nervous system is going to be impacted by hope returns, right? But it must be embodied. You're going to feel good about some things, more optimism and shit, but you got to embody it, right? Because the overstimulation of expansion is not grounded, right? Because if it's not grounded in something, it's not rooted in the body. The moment something happens that's out of your control, you're gonna be back in that goddamn same place again. Okay. So the heart chakra and the solar plexus, the somatic signal, the chest pains, the emotional optimism, the urge to move forward. If you're feeling any of that, this is the heart chakra and the solar plexus. That means you could be feeling that Uranus or that Jupiter expansion in your chart are real heavy or in your life. Now moving into the fire horse, you're more fierce, more independent, fast moving, uncontainable, volatile if suppressed. Okay, so if you're feeling angry and volatile, you might have some suppressed energy and going into this fire horse year. This year does not tolerate half truths, emotional repression, spiritual inauthenticity, nervous system dysregulation. Not being able to regulate your nervous system is not gonna fly in 2026. All right. The Sagittarius new moon, cause you're gonna fuck around and go crazy. I'm just gonna fuck around and have a nervous breakdown. When Uranus moving to Gemini fully direct, just tell you straight up, a lot of people gonna have nervous breakdowns and shit. This is why I was saying earlier about people being ticking time bombs and shit. Like, so just be mindful of what that looks like, but don't be one of them people. Regulate your goddamn nervous system. So the Sagittarius new moon and dealing with this solstice is a training ground. Like learn when to act, learn when to pause, learn to listen to the body before the fire ignites. Right? How this shows up in humanity and the collective signs, you will see truth-telling movements, exposure of ideological illusions, nervous system related health conversations, collapse of outdated belief systems, the rise of embodied spirituality over dogma. People will say, I can't live like this anymore. Something has shifted in me. I don't believe what I used to. And they are all correct. If you one of them people, you are correct. Okay. So if you one of them people, just put a 3 in the chat. I want to see something. All right. But how to work this portal, practically guidance, you do less around now, around this new moon. Sleep more, limit stimulation, journal without editing. All right. Sit in silence, even if briefly. All right. Nervous system regulation, slow exhale, breathing longer exhales. All right. Than inhale. Right. You always want to exhale longer than the inhale. This is when you get the full relaxation of the vagus nerve and the somatic, all right, aspects of it. Okay. So barefoot grounding. I know it might be a little cold where you are. They have grounding mats and things like that. Even if you just go touch a tree or whatever the case may be, it ain't too cold to touch a tree now. I ain't asking you to go out there and put your lips on it like oh boy, on liar liar or nothing. I ask you to go kiss a pole or nothing, right? But go touch a tree, go touch something, go get out in nature. I know it's cold, but still nature is still active and nature is still nature. All right. Remember, you just got more action with the moon right now. You can do the sun, okay? Unless you're in the southern hemisphere, that means you popping. Now you dealing with the nervous system regulation. Remember to do that slow inhale, and slow exhale breath longer than the exhale. The exhale longer than the inhale. Very key. Warm foods, root vegetables, soups, gentle spinal movement, not too quick, sudden movement, gentle spinal movement, slow whining, slow whine, slow whine, slow whine, baby. So the chakra alignment, root, safety, stillness, sacral, emotional permission. Simple keys that can take you a long way now. Solar plexus, self-trust, heart, compassion without self-betrayal, throat chakra, speak only what is true, observe without judgment with the third eye, surrender to mastery with the crown chakra. The essence of this moment is not about manifesting yet. This is about becoming still enough to hear what wants to be born. Do I need to repeat that for the people in the back? This is not about manifesting yet. This is about becoming still enough to hear what wants to be born. The darkness is not punishment. The light is not reward. They are partners in evolution. Can't have one without the other. There is no darkness without the light. The Sagittarius new moon at the solstice is the philosopher's stone moment, where belief is refined, truth is simplified, and the soul prepares to move forward with integrity and into the fire of 2026, baby. All right. Now, my last part is going to be talking about the nervous system once again. I had to touch on this a little bit more because this is very heavily themed during this time, right? The nervous system, the alchemy of the vagal tone, the seasonal physiology of this. The portal is not just symbolic, it's biological, right? As the light diminishes in the northern hemisphere, the human nervous system naturally shifts states and we begin fight. We fight this burnout, depression, inflammation, and hormonal imbalance flow. The winter solstice, right, is the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is the ANS, has two primary branches: the sympathetic, action, stress, survival, cortisol, adrenaline, and the parasympathetic, rest, digestion, repair, regeneration. The vagus nerve is the master regulator between those two. Okay. What the solstice does biologically at the winter solstice, melatonin production increases, cortisol rhythms flatten, thyroid activity subtly slows, metabolic demand decreases. The nervous system seeks safety and stillness. This is not weakness, this is intelligence. Your body is, people say the immune system becomes weak. That is not the fucking truth. Your immune system is not getting weaker. Okay. It is recalibrating itself. Okay. That recalibration is going to require stillness, and the safety means I got to put the proper shit in my body. That's why if you go do the studies and you look and see how many people die, all right, by heart attack, by heart stoppage, by respiratory things, like shit like that during the wintertime. That's why the winter is most prevalent for those type of deaths. Okay, so we don't want to pass out and not come back. See, imagine in the summertime, your respiratory system is more active, and you can really stop a stroke. You can really You know what I'm saying? Not get caught up in the dynamics of something to enough to where you're like, oh man, oh I took a deep breath and I felt all right. Oh, that heart palpitation. You know, like right now, these type of things can really take you out. If you got preconditioning issues, underlying issues, all right, just be mindful of how you take care of yourself, deep breathing and all that type of shit. Okay. So the body is shifting towards parasympathetic dominance. Okay, that's the vagal repair, the immune system restoration. So it's a cellular recycling. Literally, that's what happens during the winter. That's why Capricorn deals with the density, and Capricorn rules the blood, the bones, and the teeth. And that's why you can go through a chronological, no chrono baths, and an ice bath and shit like that. All right, and what that does to the body and what that does to the nervous system. Okay, so Sagittarius new moon, the higher brain reset. Sagittarius governs the hippocampus. All right, that's memory and meaning. This is where you get the elephant from when you're dealing with Ganesh. All right, and the hippocampus does look like an elephant, and it's so the memory of the elephant and how the elephant brains and all that good shit, like the hippocampus, memory and meaning, belief systems, future orientation, the interpretation of an experience deals with the hippocampuses. All right. So during the new moon, the cognitive loads drop, the nervous system releases mental vigilance, right? The brain shifts from monitoring danger to reorganizing meaning. This allows the vagus nerve to send safety signals to the heart. Slow heart rate variability into coherence, improve digestion and gut, right? You dealing with the gut being able to be more calibrated in motility, right? This regulates emotional processing, right? Now, what people do, they start to eat more heavy and eat more processed shits and eating all these foods for Thanksgiving, Christmas. You see what they do? So when meaning stabilizes, the body relaxes. I'm gonna say that one more time. When meaning stabilizes, the body relaxes. This is why people love to get clarity. It's why people can feel restless when they want to get something off their chest, when they want to know something. You see what I'm saying? So from stress to rest, the sympathetic to the parasympathetic. What happens when stress drops? As the Sagittarius new moon clears, mental tension, sympathetic dominance decreases, parasympathetic tone rises, breath naturally deepens, muscles soften, inflammation lowers. You may notice deeper sighs, spontaneous yawning, tears without sadness, warmth in the belly, craving for solitude. These are signals and signs of the vagal engagement. If you already having those experiences and those goddamn pulls and those symptoms, put a 7 in the chat. I want to see something. Now, when you're dealing with Capricorn season, density, inertia in the body, right? Capricorn is earth, Saturn, bones, joints, fascia, skin, boundaries, time, gravity. Biologically, Capricorn season can feel heavier, slower, more inert, more rigid, emotionally contracted. This is not pathology, right? It's seasonal physics. Literally, it's not pathology. It's not pathology. This ain't no type of study shit. This the way the body moves with the seasons. Okay. Why inertia happens? Because cold reduces physical circulation. All right. This deals with fascia thickens, metabolism slows, muscles shorten, dopamine dips. Think about what happened when you take a cold shower or some shit like that. Think about what your body does when you go outside and it gets cold. It feel like everything gets restricted and everything get tight. Ooh, like you get stiff. All right. The nervous system needs intentional stimulation to stay fluid, keeping the system energetic without overstimulation. The key is rhythmic activation, not force. Nervous system golden rule, baby. Activate gently, rest deeply, all right. Optimal strategy, short burst of movement, 5 to 10 minutes. Breath led activation, warmth based stimulation, pleasure based nourishment, digestive support. Okay. The gut, brain, vagus, and why winter foods matter. The vagus nerve inventorates, right? It does this when it innervates the stomach, the intestines, the liver, the pancreas, right? 80% of the vagal signals travel from the gut to the brain, not the other way around. This is why the gut is known as the first brain in a lot of schools of thought. While winter eating is traditionally aphrodisiac and warming, because cold season requires blood flow support, dopamine restoration, serotonin synthesis. Now, endocrine nourishment. So aphrodisiacs are not just sexual, they are life force activators. All right, so herbs and foods that support vagal tone in the winter. Warming and circulatory sympathetic without stress. Ginger, cinnamon, cardamom, cayenne, micro doses, black pepper, all right. Increase circulation with these. Okay. Um, you can do also with gentle stimulation. Gently stimulate the metabolism, and they prevent stagnation. And they also keep the fascia subtle. So the vagal and the parasympathetic tonics: ashwagandha, holy basil, which is tulsi, lemon balm, chamomile, licorice in moderation. And if you have any liver issues or anything going on with your pancreas, do not subscribe to licorice. All right. Now, when you deal with these, this can calm the HPA axis. This is improve the heart rate variability, soothe the gut lining, and stabilize the mood. Aphrodisiacs and endocrine support: maca, cacao, vanilla, damania, honey, ghee. Okay. These type of things support dopamine. They nourish adrenaline reserves. They also improve pleasure responses, keep vitality circulating. So seasonal foods for the gut and the brain: root vegetables, sweet potato, carrots, and beets. I don't really do the carrots, but I love beets and I love some sweet potatoes. Fermented foods: kamuchi, sauerkraut. This is also kimchi and sauerkraut. Bone broth, warm grains like oats and millet. Be mindful on the oats. Don't eat too many of those. Probably eat them by. I don't subscribe to eating oats, especially early. They are very acidic. They can be acidic in the system. So if you eat a lot of oatmeal or whatever the case may be, try to lower your consumption of that to at least, if you eat something like every day or whatever, that's a lot to eat. Try to do it about 2 or 3 times a week. 3 times to me is a lot, all right, but just to be mindful. They can be helpful in moderation. Everything is good in moderation. All right. So I ain't gonna say everything. Let me not say that because I ain't talking about snorting no cocaine and shit. No Percocets and my bad. Okay. No, I'm just bullshitting. But when you're dealing with this fermented foods and warm grains and oats and millet, healthy fats, olive oil, butter, avocado, warm foods equal safety signals to the vagus nerve. Okay. Somatic practices for this portal: the daily vagus nerve reset. Inhale through the nose for 4. Exhale slowly through the outer mouth for 6 to 8 seconds. Gently hum on the exhale. You know, and those sounds real sound or something like, but you know what I mean. Y'all catch my drift. Now place one hand on the chest and one hand on the belly. All right, this stimulates the vagal tone, the parasympathetic dominance, and emotional regulation. Capricorn season movement medicine: spinal slow waves, hip circles, joint mobility, yin yoga. That's like moon yoga and shit. Okay, moon salutations. But you can look up literally you can look up yin yoga. Just Google it. You'll see poses that pop up that help with the yin energy part of you. Walking in nature. Avoid excessive hits. All right. Extreme fasting, overstimulation, forced productivity. I was just telling somebody on live, all that fasting on certain things for a certain amount of time, you ain't eating nothing else. Keep acting like your body can survive off one thing. I know we got breatharians and shit out here. I don't want to look like that. I'm gonna tell you straight up. So when you're dealing with deeper alchemy, the Sagittarius new moon, recess meaning, the solstice recess rhyme. It's the reason, it's a rhyme to the reason, baby. It's a reason to the rhyme. Capricorn season reset structure. When meaning is clear, right? The rhyme is honored. You understand what I'm saying? When the meaning is clear, the fucking rhyme is honored and structure is gentle. The nervous system thrives. Rest is not collapse, baby. Slowness is not stagnation. Pleasure is not indulgence. They are biological intelligence. Okay. So essence to remember, this season is asking, can you slow down without shutting down? Question. Can you stay energized without burning out? Question. When you feed, can you feed your body without numbing it? Question. Can you honor gravity without losing joy? Just another question. If yes, the vagus nerve becomes your ally, Capricorns becomes your foundation, and 2026 opens with regulated power instead of survival driven force. And the rest of the PDF is now going over the ascendants. For those of you who got the PDF, right? Hold on, I done went out of there again. For those of you who got the PDF and who paid the $33 for the workshop and paid the $99 for your transit reading, you will have this PDF if you didn't already get it. If you did not get it and you know you paid, charge it to my head and not my heart, just text me or inbox me. If you still want to get this PDF, it's not too late. If you still want to get the $99 transit reading, it's not too late. Now, of course, this PDF still has, of course, with the moon sign, so you able to look at what your moon sign. You're also going to be able to look at what your midhaven is going to be talking about here. So we get into the golly. So we're going to be getting to the midhaven. All right, you're going to have that there as well. Looking at your moon, and then you'll be able to look at the midhaven down here next. And then after that, I have the life path numbers. Okay, so you'll be able to look at your life path number, and then after that you will be able to see the ritual. All right. So it is a ritual in here. And also, I always give out journal prompts. Now remember, these are general journal prompts. If you do order the transit reading, you will get the full journal prompts based off of your birth chart. You'll have these as well. All right. So you'll have two different things you can tap into. All right. So these are some of the herbs I would, these herbs, this combination. I just drunk some of this myself. I just made this combination myself. I added some more stuff to it, but chamomile, lemon balm, and oat straw is very good for the nervous system. Very, very nourishing. Red, you add some raspberry leaf to it, red raspberry leaf to it. I would say some hibiscus, right? And you sprinkle it with a little cinnamon and a little cayenne pepper. Like, yeah, your nervous system will thank you. Okay. So just some more herbs that I know work and I know that aren't really harmful to people and all that good stuff. So journal prompts that you can use tapping into, going into the wolf moon, the cancer full moon. All right. So that beautiful souls was the workshop. I just basically, of course, in typical fashion, want to make sure that we able to kind of be prepared. Remember, these are just for preparations, not for predictions. All right, for us to be able to kind of move about these things and really know that we can move more prepared, we can move more aware of ourselves as we do walk into this energy. All right, so I just really wanted to give you all this space and this place to really kind of cultivate that for yourselves. And remember, if you do want the interpersonal or the personal breakdown, it's not too late to get that. Make sure you inbox me, or either make sure you text me if you haven't purchased it already, and I would definitely make it happen. And for those of you who have not, or who did purchase it, I will be sending your breakdowns tonight and throughout tomorrow in typical fashion. That way you'll have it for tomorrow night. All right. So, peace and love to you all. Appreciate you all for your time and energy. And you will be getting a replay as well. All right. And also, the replay will be posted on my YouTube channel. So, gratitude to you all. Appreciate you all. Steve, what's the business, baby? Appreciate you, my brother. So, high vibration to you all. Gratitude for your time and energy. And enjoy your nights and enjoy the full moon or the new moon. All right. And enjoy this time of renewal. Rest, chill, relax, right? Let the cosmos lead the goddamn way. You just point the direction, let the cosmos lead the way. Namaste.